Holy crap.
People persist in doubting the evidence.
Don't run and hide. Don't be afraid. Don't turn away any longer. The truth will set you free.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Turning all of our antennas towards Jimmy Church.
And now, your host, the captain of conspiracy, the prince of paranormal. This ain't your daddy's radio network show. This is Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
All right, happy Monday. How you doing? Fade to Black. How you doing? Bespoke radio for the masses. Today's Monday, February 23rd. 54 days into the new year. 311 days left. Tonight, William Brown will be with us. Physics and UFOs. Be with us at the bottom of the hour, live from Hawaii. Right now, we are live from the truthfunders.com studios right here in Burbank, California. I usually say sunny. It's been raining all day. Maybe some thunder. We're in an underground bunker with severe soundproofing. Earlier today, I was down here working, and I heard the rumble. I was like, wow, crazy. Ran outside and was like, wow, it is coming down. But we'll see if it happens during the show. Pretty cool. You know, because it's all dark in here. Rumbling of the thunder. Truth Funders. Do you have a book, an expedition, invention, or paranormal documentary you need to get funded? Go to truthfunders.com. Truth Funders, the #1 source of backing your project into the fringe. I'd like to welcome everybody listening around the world, all across the United States, hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR and the Game Changer Network. I am your oh-so-humble host, Jimmy Church. Big salute to the proud men and women in uniform all around the world. Oh, yeah, fighting the good fight for us, for without them, there is no me, there is no you, there is no us, and you cannot hear me right now, and I need you to think about that for a second. Freedom of speech is everything. All right, let's go. Got a lot to do. It's going to be a great show tonight. Two of my favorite subjects, physics and UFOs, ufology, ET, communication. It's all going to go down tonight. Consciousness. Yep. William Brown will be joining us live from Hawaii. Be with us at the bottom of the hour. Very excited about that. All right, let's go. I'm watching Twitter to my left here. It is just, you know... Slow down, everybody. Slow down. You want me to see. You want me to read, right? You want me to see something that's just like blip, 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 blip. All right, faders.org, www.faders.org. Go get your Faders gear. T-shirts, coffee mugs. It's all there. www.shop.faders.org. Go. Become a Fadernaut, too. That's what you want to do. Become a Fadernaut. It's free. It is fun. You do want to go, you know, to that water cooler the next day. And you want to be able to, hey, man, check this out, man. I got my Fader badge. I got my Fadernaut decoder ring yesterday. You want to be that guy. You want to be that girl. You do. I can't wait till we get the, the leather jackets. That's what I want. I want one of them bomber jackets. Les just tweeted, it's Monday. It is. It's Monday. Wow, we had a long weekend here. I'm not going to go into the details, but, you know, it got a little dark around here. And, you know, some things need to, you know, they're just personal. But we got through the weekend. We're going to run without Wowo tonight for a few. She's off doing some things. But she will be joining us, sometime during the show. All right, like to say hi to everybody that is over in Spreaker in the chat room over there. What is up, everybody? I think in the last show, it's crazy, but the last show there was like, I don't know, 400 or 500 comments in there, and they're treating that like their own chat room over there. We've got another one in TuneIn. We have what's going on in Twitter. There's faders.org chat room there. It's pretty dynamic. All right. Studio Dome SD1 Bluetooth speakers. Thank you for everybody that has taken advantage of the Fader Not promotion. Still going on. The Studio Dome SD1. Just click on jimmychurchradio.com. Just go over. It's right there on the homepage. The speaker is just amazing. Here, I'm going to reach over. There it is. I'm holding it in my hand right here. Very cool. It's got a subwoofer built in. Sounds amazing. It's voice activated. Go and get you one of these right now. Go and click on the Studio Dome SD1 banner. Get $40 off when you enter the promo code Jimmy, Jimmy. So you get the speaker instead of $99.99. You get it for $59.99 and free shipping. Enter promo code Jimmy. It's all automatic once you enter that promo code. All right? Contact in the Desert. Tonight's guest, William Brown, will be at Contact in the Desert. I believe I'm going to be hosting a panel that will feature William Brown. I'm excited about that. I think that panel is called UFOs and Physics, actually. Contact in the Desert, May 29th through the 31st. If you have not entered the contest, we are giving away tickets this Thursday. We're going to announce all of the winners. Go and enter. Go right now, jimmychurchradio.com. For all of you new listeners tonight that are listening to Fade to Black for the first time, then what you must do, if you want to go to Contact in the Desert, the biggest convention all year for ufology is Contact in the Desert out in Joshua Tree. You want to go hang out. It's going to be an amazing time. It's May 29th through the 31st in Joshua Tree. We'll be broadcasting live there Friday night, May 29th. We'll be doing the show. If you want to come and watch a show like this, go off live and see how it's all done and put together and come hang out with us. Go and enter the contest right now. Go to jimmychurchradio.com. The banner's right there. Just go down, see it, Contact in the Desert contest. Click on that. It'll take you over to the landing page. It'll say right there, Jimmy Church. Boom, done. Come hang out with us. You want to see a show like this done live? It's really cool. We're going to do it, 200-300 people in the auditorium that we're going to be doing it in. We're going to have 12, maybe more, guest authors, researchers, Richard Dolan, Jim Mars, Linda Moulton Howe, John Anthony West, maybe even David Wilcock, Nori if he's there. We'll get everybody right up now, and then you get to see the show done, and that'll be cool. But then after that, come hang out with us. All right? We'll be right there. Come and hang out. I'm telling you, it's going to be a really cool night. Then after that, all of those contest winners, we're going to go have a little party, just like we did last year. And if you have any doubts about that, Bullet Murder just tweeted, does the contest include airfare from Australia? Yeah. No. That I can promise you. I can't even get airfare from Burbank. Okay, so there you go. But it is a full-blown weekend pass. All right? So go and enter. The thing is, and just like we did last year, and I talk about this every night, but it is so cool. All of the Fadernauts that are going to show up, you're going to hang out, you're going to meet everybody that you're friends with, and we're going to go out and we're going to do it right after the show, just like we did last year. Come over to Twitter right now, @JChurchRadio. Come hang out with us, #F2B. Ask another Fadernaut that was there last year. Ask him. We had a great time. I cannot wait. It's already we're going into March. So we have March, April, May. Boom, done. All right. So we're cranking out this contest now over the next couple of weeks to make sure that everybody has a chance to book, get their plans situated, tell the boss that you have to quit your job, all of that stuff. Then you go back and beg for your job back. But just to make sure you get your life in order, because you're going to spend, 3-4 days with us, maybe 5, out there in Joshua Tree. We're going to get there, by the way. I think we're going to get there maybe, definitely Thursday. We'll be out there ready to go on Thursday. There's some stuff that we're doing Thursday night with everybody else out there. So we'll be ready. We'll be landed and going Friday morning when everybody starts to arrive. All right? Mark Levin's bunker. That's funny, Minnie. That's funny stuff. He's next door. Oh, did I just say that? Wow. This might be his microphone. All right, let's get this show cracking. I am ready today. Actor Peter Fonda, 75 years old. 75. You know what? After what he went through in the 70s, 60s, 70s, did you ever think he'd make it to 75? The answer is nope. He has. Still looks good, too. Still acting. Did you see him in Boondock Saints Part 2? Anybody see that? Whatever it was called, More Boondock or whatever. Peter was amazing in that movie, wasn't he? Anyway, Peter Fonda, today, 75 years old. Today, singer Howard Jones, 60. Aerosmith guitarist Brad Whitford, 63. And also today, our dead guy's birthday is guitarist Johnny Winter. 1944 to 2014. He was professionally active all the way up to the time of his death near Zurich, Switzerland, July 16, 2014. He was found dead in his hotel room 2 days after his last performance at the Cahors Blues Festival in France on July 14th at the age of 70. The cause of Winter's death was never officially released. But according to his friend and record producer Paul Nelson, he said he died of emphysema combined with pneumonia. Happy birthday, Johnny Winter. All right. Yeah, he could throw down. He was really good. Twitter, my Twitter question of the night. I was thinking of, I was trying to go clever, but I started to really think about this. But who is the best actor in the Fonda family? Who is the best actor? Is it Brigitte? Is it Peter? Or is it Henry? Ooh. Who is the best actor in the Fonda family? Not too many families. Usually you have a son or a daughter. When you're a great actor, great director, whatever, and your son, Bob says Henry, and your son or daughter comes out in the same play, something's missing in the gene pool. All right? You get what I'm saying. You do. But the Fonda family came up all spades, didn't they? Brigitte's good. Don't think she's not good, because she is. She's real good. Just go watch Jackie Brown if you got any questions about that. But I'm watching Henry pop up here. Wow. Henry. Nobody's going to give Brigitte a nod? Not even for Jackie Brown? Wow. Minnie Faying said the lead-in song was Dire Maker. No, the lead-in song was No Quarter by Led Zeppelin. No Quarter. All right, Lori comes in with Peter. Point of No Return. Brigitte. She was amazing in that, actually. Thank you, Carol. Somebody's backing me up. About time. All right. Let's see. I think I had some email here really quick. Everybody's going Henry, though. And I'm with you. Hank. Tom says, Hank. Yeah, Henry was the man, wasn't he? All right. Let's see. What was it? I had an email. Oh, this came in from Alec. Alex says, not Alex, Alec. He says, please consider doing a series of shows, or at least one show, about the two Oswalds, Lee and Harvey. The two Oswalds theory contained in the book Harvey and Lee by John Armstrong. This has a big issue in the JFK assassination research circles for a decade, and there's even a face group devoted to the theory. Unfortunately, I myself don't feel qualified to discuss the theory on air, but there are others who might be interested to do so. So I go to harveyandlee.net. I decided to go check this out. And I scroll down, and there's 1, 2, 3, 6, 12. 12 pictures of Lee Harvey Oswald, Lee and Harvey. And there's 12 pictures there. And you should go check it out, harveyandlee.net. And you'll see what I'm talking about. And I'm looking at this, and I don't quite get it. What I mean is, when I look at these 12 pictures, and you can scroll over each one and where they were taken, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to get John Armstrong on the show to discuss this, because in these 12 pictures, if there's supposed to be 12 different guys or 2 different guys or 3 different guys, I'm just going to say they look like the same guy to me. As different as they look, they all look like Lee Harvey. Can't change those eyes. You can't fake it. Every single guy, whether he's fat, skinny, young, old, doesn't matter. What I'm looking at here, Alec, on harveyandlee.net, it looks like the same guy. I went through the website. Interesting theory, though. And I'm totally with you. Was he in the Soviet Union or was he in Cuba at the same time? I understand that. I do. I get it. But these 12 pictures here that I'm looking at look to me to be the same guy. With that, I'm going to take a break. This is Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses, only on the Game Changer Network. Oh, we're expanding. Don't you worry. Spreaker, TuneIn, TalkStream Live, and we're talking about some syndication with another network. We'll talk about that maybe in a couple of days. This is Bespoke Radio for the Masses. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, William Brown will be with us at the bottom of the hour. When I come back, all the news you know nothing about. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I gotta tell you, it was a relief. National tax experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. Doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil 3-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444. Or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Fade to Black, Monday edition. Tonight, William Brown. William is a biophysicist and a research scientist at the Resonance Project Foundation and the Hawaii Institute for Unified Physics. Tomorrow night, Laura Eisenhower will be with us. Tonight, we will be taking your calls in the second segment, 323-825-5045. You can also Skype in Fade to Black 14. I am your host, Jimmy Church, and this is Fade to Black. Henry won, hands down. What about Easy Rider? Doesn't that hold street cred these days? Easy Rider? Still? Wow. Amazing. Henry, I gotta say, hands down. Good for Henry. All right, the news that you know nothing about. Are you ready? You want to be that guy tomorrow? That girl tomorrow? Well, this is how it starts. The United States government has, for the first time ever, acknowledged by de facto the long-suspected reality of the UFO phenomenon. That's right. John Burroughs did this press release, and it is now out. It's all over the web. He sent it to me this morning. John Burroughs encountered a craft of unknown origin in England's Rendlesham Forest, December of 1980, and suffered injury for which the Veterans Administration has now recognized by granting him full medical disability. The December 1980 Rendlesham Forest incident in the United Kingdom is arguably the most well-documented and important UFO encounter in history. The UFO was seen over 3 consecutive nights by United States Air Force personnel stationed at the twin bases of Bentwaters and Woodbridge near Ipswich, England. Then the largest NATO Air Force bases at the height of the Cold War. The UFO was tracked on radar and physical evidence was found at the site where the UFO was seen to land, including indentations in the frozen ground, scorch marks on the sides of trees, and radiation levels subsequently assessed by the UK Ministry of Defense as significantly higher than the average background. Good for you, John. I'm going to get John on the show. Maybe tomorrow night. Was going to do it tonight. We're out of time. I'm going to get John on, and we will talk about this. Also, the other breaking news right now is the reports of a crash of a saucer up in Manitoba, Canada, a couple of days ago. Now, and the retrieval, snowmobiles, snowcats pulling this thing out of the ice, dragging it across the ice, the Canadian military going in and shutting everything down and cutting off communication and hushing up witnesses. Now, those are the reports. Okay, we've got friends up in Canada. Manitoba specifically, and I would like to know what is going on up there. Now, there's been other reports that have come out. CBC has said that it was just a military exercise and it was a downed plane. Even that feels a little bit iffy. I'm not too sure what is going on. I don't know if there's a saucer crash up there. But it seems a weird hush-up thing. Now, is it somebody just posting stuff on the net while this military exercise is going on and they're having fun and putting out disinfo? I don't know. I want to get to the bottom of it. I want to know if anybody up in Manitoba has seen or heard anything, or if you have pictures. All right? Our good friends up in the Great White North, you know how to get a hold of us. Also, in what could turn out to be helpful news for the reality-based community, a new trove of documents show that one of the leading scientific critics of global warming has been funded directly by the fossil fuel industries. Wei Hak Soon, that's his name, who goes by the name Willie, has traded on his position as a part-time employee of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics to present himself as a legitimate scientist who's simply not convinced that human activity is responsible for climate change, which has made him very popular with conservative groups and politicians. But documents obtained through the Freedom of Information Act request to show that his research was directly paid for by industry sources to the tune of over $1.2 million. Worse, he's published at least 11 papers that failed to disclose those payments. A serious no-no in scientific ethics. Oh, man, we haven't heard the end of this. Today, in the Wall Street Journal, In one of the most public confrontations of a top U.S. intelligence official by Silicon Valley in recent years, a senior Yahoo Incorporated official peppered the National Security Agency Director, Administrator Mike Rogers, at a conference today over digital spying. The exchange came during a question and answer session at a day-long summit on cybersecurity hosted by the think tank New America. Mr. Rogers, spent an hour at the conference answering a range of questions about his agency's practices and the global cyber threat. The tense exchange began when Alex Stamos, Yahoo's chief information security officer, asked Mr. Rogers if Yahoo should acquiesce to requests from Saudi Arabia, China, Russia, France, and other countries to build a back door in some of their systems that would allow the countries to spy on certain users. And I'm quoting here. He says, "It sounds like you agree with Federal Bureau of Investigation Director James Comey that we should be building defects into the encryption of our products so that the U.S. government can decrypt," Mr. Stamos said, according to a transcript of the exchange compiled by the Just Security blog. Mr. Rogers replied with this: "That would be your characterization." Oh, man, oh, man. Sensors at the Fukushima nuclear plant have detected a fresh leak of highly radioactive water that went into the sea, the plant's operator announced yesterday, highlighting difficulties in the decommissioning of the crippled plant. Tokyo Electric Power said that the sensors, which were rigged to a gutter that pours rain and groundwater at the Fukushima plant to a nearby bay, detected contamination levels up to 70 times greater than the already high radioactive status seen at the plant campus. The higher than normal levels of contamination were detected at around 10 a.m. yesterday, with sensors showing radiation levels 50 to 70 times greater than usual. Unbelievable. Japanese researchers have built a pair of clocks which they say are so accurate that they will lose only a second every 16 billion years. The new clock uses special lasers to trap strontium atoms and tiny grid-like structures, according to the team, which published the study this month in the journal Nature Photonics. The measures of the vibration of the atoms, it's so cool. It's so accurate, it's like an atomic pendulum. 1 second every 16 billion years. Unbelievable. What if you could text a number and get anything that you want? That's the ambitious goal of a new startup called Magic, a text messaging-based concierge service that promises to pull strings, place orders, and schedule deliveries, all so you don't have to if you're lazy. Magic doesn't have a dedicated app. Nope. It instead exists on a phone number nestled inside your contact list. That's right, your go-to guy for anything that is legal that you may need. It's only available in the United States for now, and you can sign up. You go find Magic. I don't want to announce the number on this show. I don't want to endorse this, but it's a great story. Once you text Magic with what you're looking for, one of Magic's operators will ask follow-up questions like, do you need that delivered? Are you going to pick it up? And then go and make everything happen for you. It's available 24/7. So while you might not have to worry if your favorite pizzeria is still open or anything like that, you don't have to worry about texting Magic late at night. Exactly how Magic fulfills your request is left to the discretion of your Magic operator. That's right. However they're going to get it done, they're going to get it done. Magic charges a fee on top of the cost of the products or services you're requesting, and essentially it's a middleman on top of a middleman. Now, it's cheaper if you go and just do it yourself, but if you're too busy or too lazy to go through the normal steps and save some money, then use Magic. But the thing is, right now, the buzz about Magic around the web is so crazy, there's now a wait list for gaining access to one of their operators. No joke. With that, man, I had a couple of other things, man. Homeland Security, I wanted to get to that. Oh, man, and some more NSA news. But you know what? I got to go. I got to get William Brown on with us. And he is right now waiting in the batter's box. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, William Brown. Tomorrow night, Laura Eisenhower will be with us. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Radio Network. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Jimmy, your preacher. Amen. This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're of the Honey Brothers.
Yes.
We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And I'm Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
KJCR. JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Fade to Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, William Brown. Tomorrow night, Laura Eisenhower. Wednesday, secret special guest that we can't announce yet. That's the way it goes here. You know how we do it. All right, I am ready to get this cracking. I am so excited. William Brown is a biophysicist and research scientist at the Resonance Project Foundation and Hawaii Institute for Unified Physics, where he performs experimentation and theoretical work to better understand the physics of complex systems. He explores all systems of knowledge from physics and biology to ontology and the nature of consciousness. Although his exploration of understanding is all-inclusive, William's professional background is in cellular and molecular biology. He has worked in numerous laboratory facilities all across the United States and has extensive experience in molecular biology research. After extensively studying the biochemical processes of molecular biology, William has extended this investigation to the physics of living and complex systems, specifically the theoretical framework for how consciousness may be engendered, as well as ordering mechanisms driving evolution and I can't even say that word. I should have talked to William about that. William, yeah. What is that word? Say it. Negentropy?
Negentropy.
Negentropy. Okay, William, go back in the batter's box. Hold on. That is negentropy. William is currently working to bring forth new technologies and ideas to assist in the advancement of civilization and the health and prosperity of our global community and planet. I'd like to welcome to the program, live from Hawaii, William Brown. How are you, William?
Oh, great. How are you, Jimmy?
You know, what's funny is once in a while, and I read, your bio all week and of course, all of your work. And once in a while, I'll get stopped dead in my tracks. And that is a word I have never seen before. What does it mean?
Hearing that read out loud, it's making me think I should probably avoid using jargon in my bio. I apologize for that. But it's a play on the concept of entropy, the terminology of entropy. And so we all have a pretty good understanding that entropy means increasing disorder a tendency for everything to kind of go towards chaos and destruction. Negentropy is the reverse of that. So it's the concept of things going from disordered to ordered, from disorder to order.
I cannot wait to drop that word in a conversation next week, man. I'm going to go, oh, yeah, man. Yeah, we were discussing negentropy and what? Oh, don't you know what that is?
There's another kind of good one, centropy.
Yes.
Which is the balance between entropy and negentropy. So you can maybe drop a couple on them,
Man, I feel smarter already. So you were just saying, it's kind of funny. You were just saying right before the show that you were hanging out with Nassim.
Oh, yeah.
And what's it, Nassim Haramein, and what's it like? We're going to talk all night about all kinds of things. And as you know, I was with Nassim over the weekend. Great guy. I can't wait to get him on the show. But what's it like working with him? And how did he find? Was it him that came out and sought you out?
We got connected by a mutual friend. You might even know him, Klaus Donner.
Oh yeah, of course, Klaus.
Yeah. Another awesome, great guy. And so me and Klaus had been corresponding for quite some time. And he was like, you got to talk to Nassim. We got to get you two connected. And I was familiar with Nassim's work. And actually, I was a little bit intimidated because in my mind, he was next level, premier, out there scientist. So I wasn't so confident that I even was worthy of an audience. But anyways, Klaus got us together talking. And since I was in Honolulu at the University of Hawaii, Nassim was in Kauai, and he was like, I was explaining some of my ideas and stuff I was working on. He's like, oh, man, you got to come over. We got to talk, write a paper. Let's get this going. And so since it was one island over, I flew over and we met up. And actually, we were just aligning on so many different areas. Like, for one, he had met many biologists that knew what the vacuum was. The physical, like the terminology of the vacuum within the physics. And I hadn't met a physicist who had such a profound understanding of complex systems and how they're engendered and the ordering mechanisms underlying that. He had a solution for these things. It was actually not long after our first meeting that I joined the residence project, kind of put my PhD on hold and came to work here. It's working on alternative technologies for energy production and advanced propulsion mechanisms and health and healing and so many different things. It's a far richer and exciting environment than I was getting in academia. Certainly, definitely more multidisciplinary.
Yeah, and with Nassim, and obviously this show isn't about Nassim, but I will say this, and then we'll move on. He has a way, because I don't have a PhD, and he has a way of explaining things, starting with the very, very basic, simplest things that we can all grasp onto, like a line or maybe a dot, and he starts to build up certain ideas but he will demonstrate it with pictures and explain it to you in such a way that even though you may not be grasping it, you at least feel like you do. You know, you know, because you feel like you're communicating with a physicist, and he's allowing you to grasp these very, very complex ideas. And in the end, you do. You get it. You may not understand how you got there, but he has a way of just breaking it down and talking to us in a very simplistic way that we can at least start to grasp on to what physics really is and what these theories and ideas and how they can apply to us.
And how inspiring is it to be able to, come away with a deeper understanding, having grasped, these concepts of unified and advanced physics. And, most of us are not PhDs in physics. And the stuff that he's teaching us about, is generally reserved for, pretty highly educated people, But it always reminds me of a quote by Einstein that, any fool can make something more complex and more complicated, but it takes a touch of genius to make it more simple.
Oh, yes, that is so true.
Yeah, and that's not seen.
Well, let me ask you this: when I've worked at some pretty cool companies and corporations with some very, very, very smart engineers and stuff. And when you go down to the lunchroom and you get 2 or 3 double E's sitting there talking about circuits and integrated circuits and stuff, and those guys talk geek talk all the way through lunch. They never get out of the box. What do you guys talk about when you sit down? Do you guys talk sports, or do you guys just go right there and start talking about string theory? What do you guys do?
Yeah, it's the conversation around the lunch table and in the downtime is on the fundamental nature of the physical reality, what matter and energy fundamentally is, and how we are connected at the most elementary level, from our consciousness, from our biology, to the physics of supposedly inanimate matter. So it certainly runs the gambit because it is a multidisciplinary group here. So, there's astrophysicists, electronic engineers, physicists, biologists, biochemists, so it can go anywhere from, fractal antenna design to advanced propulsion technologies and how to control and engineer the quantum vacuum. It's geek talk, though, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm always like a fly on the wall. I don't want to dare open my mouth and show everybody how dumb I am. So you just kind of just nod, and just kind of listen and appreciate it. But yeah, you're absolutely right. I knew that was the case. So let's back up. Let's back up really quick. What was your how did you grow up, and what was your family life like, and then kind of lead us into how that strange path landed you where you are now.
I really do place a lot of my career in science as a result of where I was born and grew up, which is Flagstaff, Arizona. And it particularly because the astronomy work that is done there. There's a little observatory called Lowell Observatory, but it's where Pluto was first discovered by Percival Lowell. Cloud Tombaugh under the supervision of Percival Lowell. PL, that's the initials of Pluto, for Percival Lowell, actually. So Lowell Observatory there in Flagstaff. It has spectacular dark sky star viewing. So they have strict restrictions on light pollution. So you can get some pretty spectacular starry nights. So stargazing is really excellent. But from a child, I grew up visiting this observatory, and Lowell was a pretty interesting and fascinating character because he spent a good portion of his life mapping the canals of Mars that he thought were the aquifer systems of Martian civilization. He had detailed drawings of them piping water from the poles down to the equator. Nobody's exactly sure what he was looking at, as with the more higher resolution telescopes, you don't see canals or a massive network of aquifers and whatnot. But very, very interesting. The idea of life on other planets. Civilizations, even next door to our own. But I just always thought that growing up, I was going to be an astronomer. That was my plan, pretty much all the way up to college. But since that was kind of one of my primary passions, when I got into college, I was just going primarily just to learn stuff. That's my passion is just to learn. But I'd take the astronomy courses and they wouldn't have anything new to teach me, So it just wasn't stimulating for me. But, the biology classes, on the other hand, here was an entire new world that I didn't know about, the inner universe. So my focus shifted from the outer universe, physics and cosmology, to the inner universe. And so, I spent the next 8 or 9 years studying the inner cosmos, the microcosmos.
Sure.
Yeah.
And out there in Flagstaff, because you have those incredible starry nights, and you're out there looking, did you ever have any encounters or see anything strange as a child growing up there that you couldn't explain?
Well, no, not in Flagstaff, but just a stone's throw away is Sedona.
Right.
So now down in Sedona, still pretty dark, good star skies. Would see some unexplained phenomena overhead down there.
You saw some stuff yourself, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
What did you see in Sedona? The eyewitness testimony, especially when they went through that huge amount of sightings about 10 years ago, it was getting really crazy there. What were you seeing?
Well, no. So this was kind of in my younger days when actually I was pretty skeptical, or I guess I didn't even really think much about the UFO phenomenology, even though there's I don't know his name offhand, but there's a contactee a famous contactee from Arizona that my parents actually knew. My dad had worked with his brother, even closely with him. He speaks a contact in the desert.
Okay.
I wish I could remember his name. He was taken on a ship, supposedly for, he was missing for about 4 days, and he explains his contact experience.
Oh, are you talking about you're talking about Travis Walton?
There it is. Yeah.
Your parents knew Travis?
Yeah. Okay. I always forget if it's not really well, but they definitely knew his brother pretty well too, though. So I was familiar with that story from a young age, and I understood enough of it that was something happened
Right.
You know, it was like, you know, I didn't jump to any conclusions about it, but I knew, okay, something happened there. You know?
Sure. Yeah.
That is not being explained by, you know, a prank or something. But, you know, in Sedona, like, you know, more than a couple of times, you know, I'd be watching a light move across the sky, you know, not much brighter than a star, and I would assume it's a satellite. But the thing is that once it would get overhead, it would blink out and be gone. And in fact, one time I saw one coming overhead, and I'm assuming it's a satellite, and it accelerates very rapidly and disappears overhead. And, you know, satellites don't typically do that. But, you know, even in, you know, my you know, early 20s, even I didn't really place much on it. You know, it was just something weird that happened that I didn't believe strongly one way or the other of what it was. But a little bit later on, I actually, when I was doing my master's degree at New York University, I was in New York, and, you know, being there, all of a sudden, like, you know, exploring around the city, like everywhere I seen the Freemason symbology. And, you know, it's like I'd heard a lot about the Freemasons and this occult society, and again, I didn't think much about it, but here it was in my face. You know, I was seeing it all over.
Right.
So it got me interested in that. So I started looking into you know, these occult secret societies, and then I started looking into the UFO phenomenology, and you know, it didn't take much work to find out that all of it had actually really strong validity, and you know, didn't take too long to realize it's real, you know, on all accounts. You know, so yeah, that was kind of I guess when I began juggling the world of mainstream scientific dogma with the weird and wacky
right.
fringe, you know, because you know, it's difficult because just de facto, just you lose all credibility in the mainstream scientific community if you talk about things that are outside the norm, which is, you know, kind of weird. But
yeah, well, with your research on this, I want to ask you a direct question, which we're going to get into a little bit more later. But I just posted your YouTube video that you took with your phone over in France, and so for everybody that's looking at this now, William took this over in France, and he shot it with his cell phone, maximum zoom. So that's what you're looking at there as far as the quality goes. But as we look at this group of lights and what they're actually doing, it's pretty incredible footage. This is, I don't know how to explain this away yet, and I'll let you actually do it. But when you, as a physicist now, and you look at this and you understand propulsion and maybe 11 dimensions or whatever what this could be, what's your best guess at propulsion and how these are arriving here?
Well, no, so, you know, I've been fortunate over the last few years to observe a number of different ships that ostensibly are not of terrestrial origin. They're definitely not. The most of them that I've seen are not man-made ships. And you know, I've seen a variety of them. So the ones in that footage, I am actually inclined to consider that they're not as physical as you might think. We oftentimes use the term nuts and bolts type ship. Like, I don't think that, those guys would land and you'd have a metal flying saucer in front of you.
Right.
Because, I mean, they blink in and they blink out. And actually, what I don't have the footage of is when they just all simultaneously disappear. It's just a minute after I stopped filming, and I stopped filming for a good reason, actually, an interesting reason. But so, with these,
wait! You can't get away from that. Stop right there. Why'd you stop filming? What happened?
Well, so. Okay, I'm in Concious, France, and there's about 7 houses that comprise this town, and then the rest is farm fields. I'm out in the middle of the one street in this town. It's about 12:30 at night, pitch black, dead quiet. Nobody else is around, and I'm filming these guys. Now, in the video, you can hear I say I can see 7 ships right now. I do a count of how many I can see. A couple of them are actually occluded by the tree to my right. You can't make out the tree because it's so dark, and I have it zoomed in full maximum. As soon as I say that, I hear these footsteps come running towards me from behind me. Coming down the street. Now the footsteps, it sounds like somebody's charging and they're about to attack me. So, I put down the phone and I brace myself. Probably should have, tried to do some evasive maneuvers. But, I had no way of seeing what was coming at me. It was that dark. The footsteps stop, and I'm sitting there staring into the darkness, kind of wondering what the hell is going on. What is this? All of a sudden, in just a moment's time, the footsteps, I hear them again. They go running across the street into the house, this house off to my left in front of me. They slam the door shut, and they start slamming all the shutters on the windows.
What?
Yeah. I look over, the ships are gone now, and I'm just kind of standing there dumbfounded, like, what was that? What was that all about? The entire experience was it was weird, unlike anything I've experienced, because I've experienced a lot of contact with non-terrestrial ships, or what I assume are ships of non-terrestrial origin. Even prior to this, I was sitting in my room, the room that I was staying at, and I hear this loud classical music. This woman singing over classical music, and I was thinking, who is having a concert at 12:30 at night out here in Concious, out in a field?
Yeah, right. There's 7 houses there, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd been there a couple of weeks. It's dead quiet. At night it's dead. But I peek my head out the window, and right in front of me, my line of view, I see these lights. Just maybe 50 to 100 feet off the ground, about a football field's length away. And, I was just sitting there for a while trying to get my head around what I was seeing. I was thinking like party lights, there was music playing.
Right.
Really like Chinese lanterns. But, I start seeing them like blink in and blink out and, do these slow controlled movements where they're making these like configurations, and like it was just instant. I was like, oh, these are not of terrestrial origin. These are like ships or something. And of course, it's over a field, So I'm thinking like crop circle.
Right.
style.
That was. I'm going right there. Yeah.
And actually, I think I've seen videos similar to that, where there was a crop circle afterwards. And actually, I went down to the field the next day that they were in to see, but it was there was nothing planted. It was a vacant field at the time. But
did you get that on video?
No, that would have been good as well to maybe snap some pictures of where they were over. Maybe I'm going back there next summer. I can go and do some photo documentaries, like documentation to show, like, okay, this is where I was standing. This is what it looks like in the daylight. This is the field that they were hovering over, and but as soon as I had crawled out the window with my phone to film, the music stopped once I was out there. It was like they called me out almost.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And it would have been interesting if you could have caught the music on video.
Yeah. But as soon as I had my camera out and I was out in the street, it had stopped.
Did you ask the neighbors, by the way? Did you?
Well, now there's a bit of a language barrier.
Yeah, you don't speak French.
No, je parle français un peu, a little bit, but not good enough to ask about the ships over the field. but no, actually, did this particular neighbor, I did have a little bit of a interaction with him about a week later. That wasn't too friendly, actually. I don't know what he was saying, but he's kind of telling me to get lost.
Wow.
Just I could tell, it was weird. Yeah.
Stepford wives.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that they probably experienced this a lot, and they didn't want to share it with a stranger. And the footsteps, hence the footsteps coming up behind you before. And you didn't see, I meant to ask you, you didn't see a person. You only heard the steps and you heard the door shut, but you didn't see anybody enter the house. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I didn't even see like a silhouette of a figure.
Wow, that's nuts.
But, it was dark enough that, like, when I was looking in the direction of the footsteps, I was looking into darkness. It's like staring into a cave, almost that dark.
Right.
But I mean, just weird. It's like like they knew what was going on.
They knew exactly what was going on. Yeah,
I was disrupting whatever's going on. They didn't want. They didn't want me to see them, or they were frightened by me. I don't even know. It was interesting, man.
Did you have any other experiences there, or is it just these two?
Just those while I was there. Now, I've had a great deal of other experiences out here in Hawaii, which some equally fascinating. I don't know about equally, because that takes the cake. But I mean,
yeah, that's an incredible video. I'm watching everybody's reactions right now on Twitter. It's now has gone far and wide, so we can't slow that down. But yeah, it's just an incredible video that we shot, and I'm just glad that you were there and had the sense of mind to fire your cell phone, because most people don't. I don't. I've had 3 sightings in my life. Twice I didn't get it captured. One I got one picture of, and that just happened to be because I was taking pictures with a friend
in the direction.
yeah, on the beach, and so we were able to grab that one. But if I hadn't have had that, it happened so quickly. It would have never. And the other 2, the other two opportunities that I had, I just didn't think about it. I didn't. It didn't cross my mind. I was too caught up in the moment.
Yeah, and usually it happens so quick. Even if it's 20 or 30 seconds, it's not enough time.
No.
To register. And I could film this. And that's what was a little bit different about this one is that there was so much time elapsing that I had enough time to think about what to do. I could film this. I'll crawl out the window and, I'm out there in the street for 5 minutes, I think, 4 or 5 minutes filming, it was unusual.
Now, with these lights, now that everybody's seen the video and they understand what we're talking about here by watching it, you were saying that you don't think it's a nuts and bolts, metal rivets craft. You wouldn't see it necessarily a flying saucer landing in front of you or some craft. What is it then that you are seeing in the sky?
Well, now a couple of things is that they don't make any noise from the distance that I was at. Is one interesting thing, and also from the distance and height they were at, they're not very large. They would not be. Say if they were craft, they wouldn't be any larger than a car. Certainly, maybe even smaller. Very, so they're not large, and then extreme control and precision in their aerial maneuvers. It's like just effortlessly they're gliding across and forming these configurations, and then of course that they just blink in and blink out in mid-air, thin air. So
there's intelligence involved, obviously.
Now that to me is a deep impression that I have is these are definitely there's a sentience there. If not, they are sentient things.
Right.
That is a very distinct impression from that experience. So I am of the opinion that these particular guys are a form of consciousness, a conscious entity that is not comprised of the same physical material, same kind of biological material that we normally associate with sentience. So, of course, it's speculation, but there's no reason why something that is more just energy, like a plasma, couldn't have a complex enough constitution that it is conscious as well. And in fact, in physics, it's a little thing known as Broca's brain. I'm sorry, Boltzmann's brain. Not Broca's brain is a different one. Boltzmann's brains, where just statistically, because of the size of the universe, and if you give the potential total age of the universe, which depends on what kind of model you're using, but statistically, a super intelligent consciousness should form out of the vacuum spontaneously. It's just a matter of statistics, probabilistically. So.
Well, when you say it, when you describe it like that, that idea, is that consciousness everywhere? Is it all encompassing? Does it span universes and galaxies?
Well, so that is kind of a question even regarding the nature of consciousness. What is a higher consciousness? What is a super intelligence? And pretty much it's the level of awareness. What degree of awareness does this system or entity contain? Now, when we say intelligence, what we're really referring to is awareness, the level of awareness, which is another term basically for consciousness. So a super intelligence, if I can use that word, a higher awareness means that it's aware of more things, so like connected through multiple universes, multiple points of time, multiple points of space, aware of a much larger sphere than lower forms of consciousness. So like a microbe, its world is like two-dimensional. It's aware of a microliter of pond water.
That's it. Right. Yeah.
There's intelligence there. There's awareness there, but it's not even at the same, nowhere near the same comparable level of the awareness of a human being. Aware of super clusters of galaxies and deep time. And future time, future events of the universe itself. So I don't doubt that there are systems and entities whose awareness compared to ours is like ours compared to a microbe, ours compared to a different system. It'd be like a multi-dimensional awareness. They would seem to, defy the laws of physics almost to us, but nothing defies the laws of physics, just that we don't understand all of the laws of physics.
Well, so then what you're suggesting is, if I'm understanding you correctly, that this all-encompassing consciousness is making itself aware through this energy of creating those lights for you. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, now I think that most likely those particular ones were consciousness entities. Beings that were visiting here from a domain that is alien to us, it is unfamiliar to us. By that fact alone, their consciousness, their awareness, their intelligence would be beyond ours, because they know how to travel through space. They can appear over a farm in France, and then who knows where they disappear to.
Okay, let me ask you this then. Out of those 7 lights that you captured on video, is that seven, it's a new word, 7 different 7 different beings, 7 different independent, or is it one with 7 lights? Am I making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. At one point there was as many as 10 or 11 ships. They were kind of coming and going quite a bit. A couple of them, behind a tree that is blocking the camera view. But again, a higher consciousness, a higher awareness is going to be aware that the deeper connectivity
Right.
that is occurring, the intrinsic entanglement of all things. I mean, in physics, at one point, supposedly, everything was at a singularity. Everything in the universe was in a zero-dimensional space. At another point, it was everything in existence was packed inside a volume the size of a proton.
Right.
So, I mean, it's entangled. An entanglement is only broken when something has an environmental interaction. What is there for the universe to interact with that's outside of itself? The entanglement is never broken.
What about, does the entanglement continue to you? In other words, is there a form of communication that you can establish between what you're seeing and you specifically?
Absolutely.
How does that happen?
Yeah. So these 7 lights are more like one consciousness, just through the entanglement of the separate consciousnesses.
Right.
Would be my assumption, given that higher intelligence is higher awareness, which is greater connectivity, etc. But through that intrinsic entanglement, you're just entangled with these other consciousnesses, other beings, as they are, well, maybe not just as entangled, but the entanglement is there still. And so, like when I was saying, like, I had this distinct impression, part of that is that, I'm aware of that connectivity. I can feel those kind of things. Like, am I looking at a Chinese lantern or a balloon that's like lit up or something? Or am I looking at like something that's alive and thinking? I can feel the difference. Because our senses are a lot more varied than what we officially accept. Like you can look out and see a tree in front of you, but what about looking out and feeling a tree in front of you? Can you feel that tree off in the distance? And you can.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, when you were walking through the field that night in France, before you started shooting the footage, did you feel that you needed to look up at that moment?
Well, so, before filming, I was in the room I was staying in. The window closed. I think there's even a drape over it. And I was oblivious to anything out of the norm occurring.
Oh, you thought you were oblivious.
Yeah. Well, no, it was the music that alerted me. That loud music that got me to look out the window to see him. Now, in some of a lot of my other contact experiences or interactions, I'll look up at the exact spot in the sky where the ship is. My eyes are on it. My head is moved to the exact spot before I even thought about it. That's actually a really good way to know that, I'm looking at a ship right now, because there was a communique that got me to look there.
Let's talk about that for a second. How we're going to talk about what's going on out there in Hawaii too, but how does it, does this come through practice? Does this come through training, or now you're just self-aware and you know what to look for now?
No, it is really interesting, actually very informative for me on the nature of reality through my own experience, because I never really had these kind of experiences for most of my life. It wasn't until I started doing specific practices that developed greater sensitivity. There's very specific, methodical practices that can be done that increase sensitivity. Meditation is, of course, a well-known one, but for me, it kind of started with martial arts training, where me being a skeptical scientist, my sensei or master or whatever you want to call it, I was laughing at him because he was talking about utilizing chi in the practice, and this was just a bogus weirdo thought. Like, why would anybody even believe in such nonsense thing to me? And he came over and real calmly and told me to you put your hands one over the other with a couple inches of space in between them, and you'll feel the energy exchange. And I did it with all skepticism intact, and I felt the vibration, the energy exchanging between my hands is chi. So in like 2 seconds, he wiped the smirk off my face.
Right.
And but yoga, tantric practices, and meditation, martial arts, they all utilize cultivation and movement of this energy that the Eastern esoteric practices call like Qi and Qing, and but these things can help develop body awareness, greater sensitivity.
What about remote viewing? Can you apply it to that?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So that one's real easy, because if you've done your rigorous practice, disciplined, consistent meditation practice, which I've done for 5 years or more now, nightly. It's called mindfulness. You're watching what the mind does. You can see that. Okay, you've got this train of thoughts that just keep popping up, and normally we identify with that. We say, "Oh, that's me." That's this narrative constantly going on in my head.
Right.
That's my consciousness. That's me. But actually, that's an overlay. You can, there's noise. You can actually go to a deeper level, deeper than just the narrative. And that's where you're meditating. When you're not focusing on like words, you're focusing on, like, say, the space in between the words, the quiet stillness. But from there, you can place your intention on something, and it'll come through very clearly. And you'll know that it's not just the workings of your mind, your chatterbox. You can get very clear impressions, words, pictures, images. Actually, with enough practice, you can even distinctly feel that it's coming in. Like as if from outside, so that remote viewing can become a very pragmatic and easy practice to do.
Well, one of the things that when I look at all of these ideas and theories when it comes to this is, and especially when it comes to entanglement and electricity, is this happening? Can it be faster than the speed of light? That's what
it is.
It has to be.
Absolutely, undoubtedly, yeah. So there are a large host of faster than light or superluminal phenomena, and this is known. Of course, there's a certain amount of practice to not admit this and kind of obscure this because the superluminal faster than light phenomenon, they're not violations of Einstein's stipulation, but Einstein's stipulation never said nothing can go faster than light anyway.
It's something that's assumed, though, I think, by the status quo.
Yeah, well, it's something that's stated as a simplification. It's like the expert that knows all, is going to come and what does this part of Einstein's equations means? Oh, nothing can go faster than light.
Right.
But it's a simplification, and it's not the whole story, because something that's already going faster than light, there's no problem there.
Well, when you're confronted with that, give me something to say when I have the next guy comes up to me and says, Jimmy, nothing travels faster than the speed of light. And you normally when this conversation comes up, it's certainly about interstellar travel. Okay, so somebody comes up to me and says, Jimmy, nothing travels faster than the speed of light, and then I'm going to go, no, you're wrong.
No, you're
what? Give me the bullet for my gun. What do I say? How do I respond?
No, you're categorically wrong and incorrect, because in 1994, Einstein's field equations was solved for superluminal propagation, superluminal travel, and there's a NASA team at Eagle's Advanced Propulsion Facility who are working on the development of superluminal faster than light propulsion. So I don't know how long you've had your head under a rock, sir, but you need to get with the program. And also, a word to the wise, never say never, friend.
Yeah, right. What about tachyons? Are tachyons faster than light?
Yeah. So, the idea with tachyons is just that if something is already moving faster than the speed of light, it can continue to move superluminally. It just can't go slower than the speed of light. It's got the opposite problem. Now, there's actually a whole class of these kind of interactions, supposedly, theoretically, I should say. And, one of the things about them is that they move backwards in time. But that's another consequence of both Maxwell's equations of electromagnetism and Einstein's metric of space-time, but it's foundational to physics is time symmetry. Particle interactions, for instance, can go in either time direction, backwards or forwards, and nothing is violated. In fact, they should. It's more of a problem explaining why we see this time asymmetry as opposed to the time symmetry that should be there. And in fact, so there's a number of theories that were developed later on that incorporate the time symmetry that should be there, like the Wheeler-Feynman, two giants of physicists, the Wheeler-Feynman absorber theory or time symmetric interpretation of quantum mechanics. It uses superluminal light particles that travel. So you've got like a light particle that's emitted from the source, like your flashlight, and it goes and it hits the wall and it's absorbed. Well, in the time symmetric interpretation of quantum mechanics, at the same time that that photon leaves your flashlight, it also leaves the wall and travels backwards in time into the flashlight. And those two can interact. Those two photons, the forward and backwards in time, and so their interactions can cause things like wave interference patterns, which a high school student can do with a laser pointer and two holes in a piece of paper.
Sure.
Yeah. But
and the reason why I bring up the thought faster than the speed of light idea when we're dealing with the universal consciousness and the progenitor, the source of this consciousness, wherever it may be, if it is here, is that thought and that energy that is being transferred, is that happening in real time? And if it happens in real time, that's obviously faster than the speed of light. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yeah. So there's been even a couple of experiments that have demonstrated instantaneous interaction, instantaneous transmission. So, of course, entanglement is a well-established one. It's not known what speed, if any, is occurring for these particles to stay connected even over vast distances.
Right.
It appears, but I think the equations even are instantaneous. But there was an Italian team even that just measured the speed of what's known as the Coulomb field, which is a term given for a field of electric charge. So like the electromagnetic field, you've got the Coulomb field, or a magnetic field. And so the question was, how fast does the interaction propagate through the field?
And they can't measure it, right? It's just
they did. They measured it.
Well, I mean, you can't. What I meant is there's no delay to measure. It's almost instantaneous.
Well, when they did the measurement, it was instantaneous.
Right.
Yeah, there was no delay. Yeah. And it's thought that gravity is instantaneous over space and time as well.
Yeah, I just had Wal Thornhill on the show. I'm sure you know Wal's work with the electric universe. And that's one of the things that he talked about, that gravity was over, I think this is the figure, over 20 billion times faster than the speed of light.
Well, it's interesting to give a speed for it. Because it's really, instantaneous. It's like, and there's kind of a way to think about it. Like, if you have a ruler sitting on your desk and you push one end of it with your finger, how long does it take the other end of it to move forward?
Right. Exactly.
No, it's instantaneous.
It's instantaneous. Now, with this same measurement, would if it was possible to measure a vast distance, like from here, forget about Saturn or Jupiter or inside of our own solar system, but like if we went out to another galaxy, is that measurement between the interaction between the two, would it be instantaneous even then?
So
you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. So, and that really is, the question: is there a speed to the propagation? Now, personally, myself, I would say no. Because I believe that the interaction is being mediated through non-local mechanisms, so that the what appears to be the spatial distance and the temporal distance are not factors in the interaction, the mechanism of interaction. It's not being mediated through the normal spatial and temporal vectors that we experience normally. So that it continues to be instantaneous. Now, there's even the idea of like inertia, mass, gravitational force. So like our inertia here. If you have a satellite out in space at constant velocity, if you want to get it moving, you got to accelerate it. That initial acceleration takes a little extra nudge to get it going, because the inertia associated with that acceleration.
Sure.
And the acceleration is equivalent to the gravitational force. So that force, where does it come from? It comes from that object's interaction with all the other matter in the universe. The kind of saying for that is inertia here results from mass out there.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That's heavy. That's heavy, but very interesting.
And that displacement of that satellite by that acceleration, it's displacing itself from the instantaneous configuration of the entire universe. The universe has to reorder itself slightly. So it takes a little extra energy, and it appears as mass and the requirement of extra force. But once it's moving at a constant velocity, it takes no energy at all, because it did its little rearrangement, and now it's going in sync. It's been all recalculated. Everything's okay again. But that concept though is actually what one of the motivating factors in the development of Einstein's theory of general relativity. It's got a pretty good, interesting historical legacy in physics, but it was recently verified to a certain degree by the Gravity Probe B experiments. But interesting stuff. That kind of actually gets into ways to overcome inertia in gravity. If we're finally kind of coming to understand what inertia in gravity is, which has been unexplained. Of course, when you tell a physicist about anti-gravity, they roll their eyes.
Right.
It's not really clear what gravity is.
Right.
So what do you mean by anti-gravity? It's beyond where we're even at yet.
Well, you brought up, I don't want to get away from a couple of things that you brought up earlier. You brought up singularity and Big Bang and the start of the universe. And as a physicist, how does religion come into play for you? And are you a religious person?
Well, I don't follow a particular dogma or doctrine.
Okay.
So I don't identify with a specific religion. In fact, I kind of find value in all of them, as well as criticisms.
Sure, we all do.
So
are you running? Are you running for office? Are you? That's about the most politically neutral statement I've heard.
Correct. Which voting bloc? What's their religion? I'm that one.
Right. But when we're talking about universal consciousness, I think that it is something that needs to be discussed, and a higher being and a higher who is the champion of this universal consciousness, and is there a supreme universal conscious overseeing all the other minion consciousness out there?
I'll be happy to share my perspective. I don't expect anybody to agree with it. Yeah, it might seem weird or odd, but so I'm not a religious individual, but I'm very spiritual. I get more and more spiritual as time goes on, and for me, spirituality is just a connection. It's being connected to people, to the environment, to what I'm doing, to myself, my thoughts, connectivity, and then actually connected with what I can't even necessarily see tangibly or physically. I can be connected to something much greater than what's in my direct vicinity. I can get quiet and feel what it feels like to be connected to the galaxy and the universe. Because when you see those images, the Hubble Deep Field of those galaxies, if you were to look back on the Milky Way galaxy, that's you. That galaxy is made of stars, planets, asteroids, and humans. That's what you look like at the larger scale. Galaxies, spiral galaxies. I was actually just visualizing a future epoch where. You look down on the Earth, you can see humans are there because there's little lights.
That's right.
In all the cities.
That's right.
Thinking future epoch where you look at a galaxy, you can tell living beings are there because the galaxy is being remodeled.
Well, sure. I mean, I say this all the time, and I would love your comment on this. You hit the nail on the head. You can tell from a vast distance that Earth is alive. It's covered in lights. There's things going on here, and you would be able to, if you drove by in your little flying saucer, you're cruising by and you look out the window, you're not looking at Mars. You're looking at a planet that's lit up. Imagine what the United States looks like in the month of December. Think about that with all the Christmas lights out. So this, and I totally agree with you in that. Just imagine the flip side. We know what Earth looks like lit up. We look at videos of cities at night, from satellites all the time. So if there is, and there is, somebody out there, an intelligent life looking back, they're probably much smarter than us, and they know exactly what to look for, and they know what they see when they see planet Earth from a vast distance. It's a planet that is lit up and glowing, and we're saying, hey, we're here.
Emitting out all kinds of signals to our presence. Some going at the speed of light, some going faster, instantaneously.
Yes.
We don't quite have the resolution to see other planets quite yet at that kind of detail to see if that same kind of activity is going on. But I even imagine advanced enough civilization that's been around for a long time, that it's actually remodeling the galaxy that it's a part of in the same way that we alter the appearance of the Earth's surface. Now, if that were going on, it could be going on right now. We wouldn't necessarily know because our closest galaxy, you're looking at it how it was 2 million years ago.
Right.
And then that just keeps increasing. Maybe all the change in the Earth's surface has occurred in the last 100 years.
That's right.
It's a punctuated event. I just wonder, beyond that veil, that horizon of time that we get because of the distance of other galaxies. I wonder what it really looks like right now.
Well, and so back to back to that universal consciousness that is here. Was it created? Was it already there when our universe was created? Was that consciousness already there? Was it, and was it part of another multiverse that created another universe somewhere else? And do you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm of the particular viewpoint that that larger, what you would call multiverse, the omniverse, and all that is necessarily eternal, unchanging, even unchanging because it's multidimensional. It spans
infinite.
Now, infinite time. Well, eternity isn't infinite time. It's timelessness. Is a moment a second, or 1,000 billion seconds, or 1,000 billion years? There's no distinction. It's this timelessness, and I think at the largest scale, that timelessness is there, so that asking like, is there a beginning or an ending, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Well, then does that idea allow for time travel?
Absolutely, yeah. Because everything in existence already exists. The idea of time travel, though, is first we'd have to get straight our definition of time.
Exactly.
So, we don't actually have a good handle on time. What do we mean by that? It's certainly one of the most open-ended questions in physics right now. Definitely one of the most hottest areas of research or theoretical work. And it kind of always comes back to the idea as well, is there this absolute time, or is time just the change of things, so that it's relative? Now, in terms of time travel, now we do understand that time is inextricably linked with space, so that if you move through space, you are moving through time. Not just that it takes a certain number of movements of the hands of the clock to move from one point to the other. If you're moving through space, the hands on the clock are moving differently.
Yes.
For you than for other individuals, at different relative frames of reference, relative velocities.
Well, there's, to me, and I need to make something very clear. To me, there's like two definitions of time travel. The one that is easy to grasp on is you take off from planet Earth, you go 5 light years in one direction, you turn around and you come back 5 light years, and you come back to planet Earth, and you've done 10 years of light travel. You come back to planet Earth, and planet Earth has aged 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And so now you're looking at Earth 1,000 years into the future.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
now I get that. That makes sense. But then there's the other definition of time travel, where you step into a box on planet Earth and you go back 100 years into the past. And step off and look at something. Now that's a whole nother idea of time travel. So not the leaving the Earth version of time travel with the movement of the clock hands that you're referring to, but the one where you step into the box and you go back 100 years and you're hanging out in New York City in 1915. Is that possible?
Yeah. So it's the acceptable time travel on the one hand and the unacceptable.
That is correct.
On the other one. But just one interesting thing about the acceptable one, so just as you said it, you take a 10-year round trip going at the speed of light. It's 1,000 years in the future. All this talk about ancient aliens. Right?
Yes.
They might be the guys we're filming right now. If they took a 10-year trip at light speed and they're stopping back by, they missed a couple thousand years of space in between. Our ancient astronauts could be overhead right now.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Just by that mechanism. Now, the back in time though. Now that is possible.
Well, doesn't if and I was thinking about this the other day, and this is how my brain works. I'm in bed and I'm thinking about time travel, different aspects of it. If it was indeed, and we did do it, you went back 100 years into the past. It doesn't the entire frigging universe have to go back in time too?
Well, so there's...
Or is everything backing up at the same time?
It's like a redo.
Yes.
In most cases, what would be occurring is that you would actually be going to a parallel universe, one that is so similar that it appears to be just exactly like the past from the time point that you came from, except that it's parallel.
So the grandfather paradox is null and void. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because if you jump timelines here and kill your grandfather, it's no problem because actually that's already factored into that timeline, so to speak.
Sure.
In the timeline that you come from, your grandfather is just fine.
Now, let me ask you this then. And I understand the alternate timeline, but if you go back in time, let's just say you're 25 years old and you want to go back 20 years to when you were a 5-year-old. Do you physically, what about your body? Do you revert back to your 5-year-old self because you went back, or are you your 25-year-old self looking at your 5-year-old self?
Well, no, it depends because both of those timelines exist. So you could jump into the one where actually you just revert back, so to speak, to that 5-year-old body. And the thing is that you would at that point never know that it ever happened. And you that timeline would have a loop. Where that probably occurs just infinitely.
So you would be your 25-year-old self. You would be you would be inserted into. You would be an extra object in that timeline.
No. So in that particular one where you're 25 years old, you jump into that 5-year-old body. You are in that 5-year-old body. That brain has no memory of that other 25 years, maybe something is imprinted in that does have some vague memories of.
So if you're okay, let me put it to you this way too. Now you're starting to bum me out. So now you're a 25-year-old guitar player, right? You've amassed all of these licks, but you want to go back to high school when you were a 15-year-old guitar player and you couldn't play, and you want to go back and impress everybody, kind of like that Back to the Future scene, right?
Yeah.
So now you go back in time and you're playing. You wouldn't have the memory of the amazing guitar player in this timeline.
I haven't made it entirely clear because it all depends on which parallel one you jump into, because given this idea, this theory, all of them exist, so that you can jump into the one where actually you're still your 25-year-old body and you can see the 15-year-old guy.
Right.
You could jump into the one where you're the 15-year-old guy who has absolutely no recollection that the 25-year-old guy just jumped in, and it's just a complete redo. And that one's kind of like the null. Nothing ever really knows that it even happened. You certainly don't. But say that it physically does occur, just nobody knows. You don't.
Right.
But then, so there's also anything in between, so that there's ones where the memory imprint, perhaps a little bit comes over,
filters through.
Yeah, maybe a lot. There are reports about like people who all of a sudden wake up and can speak a language they never knew. I don't know if that's true or not, if that actually happens, but who knows? Like, what if their future self had learned Cantonese when it jumped back into their previous self, so that that one would grow up knowing Cantonese. I'm just kind of facetiously
sure.
giving out a scenario there. But then there are savants who we marvel at, that they can play Beethoven and Bach at 4 and 5 years old, and paint like they're Leonardo da Vinci at 4 or 5 years old. It's like and even sometimes young children have recollections of what they think are past lives. It's maybe memory imprints from parallel lives, where there was some kind of interaction, some kind of transmission across timelines, so to speak. Because, I think that information is always being exchanged across these, and it's just a matter of is it being utilized, or is there an awareness of the information that's there? That's a definite possibility. But I think that the actual physical workings of the universe involves communication across time. Events that occur now are more influenced by things that we think are from the future, that we think are future events. The order that we observe, our consciousness, is more a result of future, what we think of as future events influencing across time. This is where you get negentropy, possible negentropic interactions. Just because the universe is actually increasing in complexity, increasing in order. So we know, for one thing, that the intelligence is going to be greater in the future.
Sure.
So that those actually more complex systems of the future are reaching out to the lower complexity, the higher entropy regions, to drive them.
Is it increasing exponentially? Like, I mean, is it doubling by the second?
Yeah. You know, an exponential increase in information, and you see that in so many different systems.
Sure. You see that just in children today. I mean, it's an evolutionary thing. Real quick, what a great conversation. So much so that I haven't done one drop or a station ID tonight. This is Fade to Black, Bespoke Radio for the Masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We are talking with physicist William Brown, live from Hawaii. We're talking about all kinds of different things tonight. Certainly interaction with possible intelligence that is not from here, all the way through to the way consciousness and entanglement involve the entire our entire everything. To say universe, I think, is incorrect, William, because I believe in the multiverse.
Yeah.
But across all things. Now, I want to address one thing. We started to almost get there a few minutes ago, which is deja vu. Yeah. And so when we talk about all of this, how does deja vu come into play? Certainly, you've been a victim of deja vu, right?
How do you know that?
Because we all have. Anybody that ever says they haven't deja vu'd is a liar. Let me help you out. Liar. Lie.
Yeah. You know, it's actually, I mean, played a pretty significant role in my life.
Yeah, me too. I do it every day. Yeah. I do not deny the deja vu when it happens.
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting. It's I haven't heard from many other people who experience it every day, because I don't know if I'm quite at that frequency, but I mean, it feels like it's a lot that it's occurring.
Sure.
But I mean, I've had it like so intense, and it's lasted so long where, I mean, I'm having like a conversation with somebody, and I feel like I'm just a spectator watching something I've already seen occur.
Right.
For like throughout half the conversation.
Yes. I do it all the time.
It's weird because.
What I was going to say is not necessarily conversations too as well. It's just can be a total visualization of walking down a street or seeing something drive by. It doesn't matter. It's just a life event that somebody somewhere planted this into your brain. Somebody has, and I have said, and I'm going to let you finish. I have said this. When it comes to the paranormal, and that's a broad stroke of the pen, but it could be ghosts, it could be E.T., it could be anything, ESP, anything remote viewing, anything to do with fringe and the paranormal, anything. If deja vu is something that you can't explain, but we know it's happening all the time to all of us, if that is indeed happening, then that opens up the door to everything in front of us that we want to question.
Well, from the science, it's said, it's a brain malfunction. Your brain's getting its wires, its signals mixed up. So it thinks that what's occurring is already happened. But it's just that its memory storage location is getting mixed up with its in the now processing location. But whoever says that has not had many deja vu experiences, just because, like I had one where I was in the lab. I was doing actually a $1,000 experiment, one-time experiment. But I'm in there doing it, and I had the deja vu come in, and it's that like, oh wow, I swear, I've done this before. I've seen this before. But this time it was so vivid that I was like, no, I remember. I make a mistake. I messed this experiment up. And that's where the deja vu cuts out. I can't remember anymore. I'm like,
I'll give you a classic. I'll give you a classic one.
Yeah.
I'm sitting with a friend of mine who has got this amazing. I'm a big watch guy, and he's got this really amazing gold Rolex with diamonds around it, nice oyster, and it was brand new. And I was like, wow. And at that moment, the deja vu was that I asked him to take the watch off so I can put it on. And I'm sitting here just tripping as this whole thing is going down in slow motion. And that I walk into another room, up to a friend of mine, his name's Jaime, that I knew would notice the watch and ask me if I just got a new watch and could he see it, right? Wow. And I see the whole thing. So I then turned to my friend, his name's Harry, and I said, dude, can I, let me borrow that for a second. And he goes, sure. He takes it off. I take off my watch. I hand it to him. I pop on this Rolex, and I literally walk into this other room. And I go up to my friend Jaime, and I put my elbow on this table, and he goes, dude, nice watch. Did you just get that? Can I see it? And I said, yeah. And I had the whole thing, and I hand him the watch, and he looks at it, and it was like the trippy, and I took the watch back, and I walked out of there, and I felt like I was hit in the head with a hammer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was just.
Yeah, no, that's a good analogy.
But it happened. Yeah, I was stunned, and I remember going back thinking, "Wow, that was really cool." That was amazing. Yeah, man. And I didn't tell anybody about it until this very moment. Wow. This is the first time I've ever shared that experience with anybody, and we just shared it with our entire radio audience. But that really, 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 really happened. Why did it happen? Because I embrace it. I don't want to deny the experience, and I felt it coming on, and boom, damn, if it just didn't roll out in the next 10 minutes exactly as it was incredible.
Yeah. That's a certain degree of allowing and acceptance really facilitates that. Yeah. That is one of the quintessential examples of perfect deja vu.
Well, and you know what I do, and I'll say this to everybody out there, including yourself, William, which is, you know what? If you know it's about, you need to remember it. Remember it after, because it can happen so often, and people choose to ignore it, and then you kind of forget about it, and a couple of days later you have no idea. Just try to remember those experiences when they do happen, so you can share them later.
If there is a certain degree of focus given to it, where you're actively remembering it, I'm sure that actually, increases the clarity or vividness when it's occurring, or even the frequency. Just like dreaming. It's one of the things, or lucid dreaming even.
Well, Ruth just tweeted. Check this out. She says, "Many times I know the whole story without reading it."
Yeah,
I do that all the time. When I'm reading a book, I'll know what's about to happen on the next page. Not at the bottom of the page, but you can kind of feel, it's like, wow. I experience that all the time.
And so, from a physics perspective, though, that makes sense, because at the foundation, at the elementary level, you have time symmetry, where our idea that the forward and backward processes, arrows of time, are occurring simultaneously.
Correct.
Always. There's good reason to believe believe that that is what is occurring normally all the time.
Could that be what deja vu is?
Yeah. So it's that.
Oh man, you're hurting my head right now.
It's that the forward and backward processes, arrows of time, are occurring simultaneously all the time, and a certain number of us we become aware of that. We kind of shift from that focus on the just unidirectional flow of time, and we kind of come to the center. And you're kind of plugging into a deeper level, a deeper awareness of what is actually occurring. It's not actually that you're experiencing like a momentary glitch. That's actually what's occurring constitutively. It's just the limitations, the necessary boundaries of our perceptive capabilities as human beings, that we don't always see that occurring. But
that's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy.
Other intelligences, beings, systems are probably, with a greater awareness, a higher intelligence, are much more aware of this all the time that's going on. In my bio, it said that I study complex systems. Just one of the things about complex systems is that time asymmetry, or a direction to time, arises actually from systems complexity, from a complex system. And so, since we're in this incredibly complex system, the biosphere of the Earth, it can't. There's not many other places we know of in the universe that are this complex. Of course, we don't know many things, but so because of the system we're embedded in, it appears that there's this strong unidirectional asymmetry to time, but that's actually a product of, for one, our limited perceptual capabilities and the system that we're in.
Do you think there'll be a time, hopefully sooner than later, but do you think there'll be a time when we could actually go into Bizarro World, right next to us, and would that be through a mechanical means, or would it be through a conscious travel?
It can be done through mechanical means. It can also be done through natural mechanisms. Now, really, I think that Bizarro World is, to think of Dreamland, right?
Sure.
Oh, I mean, that might be a little weird way to put it, Dreamland, but I mean, your dreams.
That's what I'm referring to. Well, you remember the TV show Fringe? I'm sure you watched, and if you didn't watch it, you need to go back and plug all 5 seasons out and do a binge watch on Fringe. But one of the things that they dealt with in there, which is where I think string theory is right there, right now, is, Bizarro World, the world that's parallel right next to ours, and you go there, and instead of a blue sky, there's a red sky, and instead of cars with 4 tires, there's cars with 3, whatever, square tires instead of round. Everything is the same. You can kind of recognize it, but it's just a little bit off. And so being able to just step into that world to the left or to the right, of which there could be an infinite amount of those parallel timelines. How soon are we to being able to do that?
So, actually, the technological means to do that have already been developed. Where things like, synthetically produced or artificially produced frequencies, binaural audio systems.
Sure.
There's isolation chambers, which through mechanical or technological means, you can actually go into those places. Now, there's a guy, Thomas Campbell, who I'll be meeting this summer. We're going to be at a conference together. He wrote a book called My Big Toe. Right.
Yeah.
The theory of everything. What led him to this was when he was doing his physics degree. I think it was at UC Berkeley. They were doing, technologically induced astral traveling. So I think as part of his thesis project, even he'd go into a room and they'd set up I think it was binaural audio, and I'll pop him right out into a different experience, a different frame of experience, I think that especially like the so-called ancients, or predecessors, I think like shamans and yogis, they had a technology, a methodology to do this, where they didn't have the technology to blast off their surface and explore outer space, but they could explore it through inner technology, so that you can explore probably the larger portion of the information network of the universe, through these kind of mechanisms.
Well, and let's talk about the ancients for a second. When we're dealing with the possibility of not only time travel and leaving the Earth and coming back, and the Earth is aged 1,000 years, and what the ancients were seeing back then, were they seeing the same consciousness and lights and interdimensional interaction that we're seeing today?
I'm sorry, I didn't exactly follow in.
All right, were they seeing the same lights in the sky that you saw in France? Were they seeing that 10,000 years ago?
So again, I believe so, because for a couple of different reasons. These beings or visitors, or however you want to name them, I don't think they're restricted to the time as we experience it. I think through not only higher consciousness, higher intelligence or awareness, but also because of the more advanced technological capabilities, they can move through the temporal domain. Just as we understand moving through space, they can do that with time. I would not be surprised if those same ships or lights or whatever exactly they were, I'm not too sure, that I saw and filmed in France, when they were blinking out, I would not be surprised if they were blinking in 10,000 years in the past.
Right,
over,
exactly.
Some ancient, town,
I'm gonna. We only have a few minutes left, and I'm gonna talk you into hanging out a little bit past, if you don't mind. I have too much to talk about. Or too much stuff left on the table. You're not going to get out of here that easy.
I'll just need a 5-minute break.
Yeah, if you need a 5-minute break, we'll take it right now. You need 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it. I'll break the commercial right now. Boom, done. I'll see you in 5 minutes.
Okay, excellent.
All right.
Bye.
This is Fade to Black on the Dark Matter. Oh, did I just say Dark Matter? This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be back right after this. More with William Brown when we come back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Faded Black, bespoke radio for the masses. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, talking with William Brown. And you know what's funny? I had a deja vu about 10 minutes ago that I was going to do what I just did before the break. I'm not kidding. I saw that one coming, man. I saw that one heading our way. Now, we've been talking with William Brown about so many. I'm waiting for him to come back, but we've been talking about so many different aspects of entanglement and consciousness and us. And one of the best examples of any of this, I certainly feel that deja vu is part of it. And if deja vu is possible, and it's not only is it possible, but it is something that we all have experienced. And if that is occurring and we're seeing that, then everything else out there is on the table. And I'm a firm believer of that. William, are you back with us? Oh, no, he's not back. Okay. I hear him stirring around in the background. I'll just leave it right here. But that's how I honestly feel. And when I remember, hi, William, are you back with us?
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay. What about when we talk about lost civilizations and lost gaps in time throughout history? When you look at that, and there's obvious examples of things, and then you have and the obvious examples are ancient Egypt and Samaria and the Mesopotamians and 3500 BC being the dawn of man, but certainly now we have found examples around the world much older than that. And when we talk about the ancients' knowledge of not only our own solar system, but precession and the knowledge of astronomy and what is going on before there were telescopes, and knowing about the existence of a lot of different things that we didn't know about until in some instances, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. Is that, do we have an explanation for that?
Well, certainly not from, the conventional explanation.
No, not at all. Not at all.
In fact, it's pretty obvious and kind of pitiful that, that conventional explanation is, it's so wrong, but kind of pitiful how it's just clung to such a veracity, even in the face of obvious faults. Just yeah. But so it's a big unexplained area. Absolutely. One thing that I guess clearly is for sure is that human civilization at a fairly sophisticated level stretches back a lot deeper than what is classically accepted, not least of which because you observe actually a decrease in the sophistication with stoneworking. You see a decrease coming up to the modern era.
That's right.
So if you go back to the oldest remnants you can find, you have the most sophisticated stonework. In fact, so sophisticated that most think that we couldn't replicate that now. That we would be hard pressed to duplicate the same things that can be observed in the oldest remnants. And of course, just how old is highly controversial. I definitely think that it's a lot older than.
Well, where did they get the knowledge? Where did they get the knowledge of astronomy and math? How do you go? This is the thing, and please, I just want you're so smart. I want your theory on this. How do you go from being Stone Age man, 3,500 BC, the rest of the world is wearing animal skins, and you suddenly understand math and farming and politics and religion and astronomy and true north, suddenly pi, all of these things are just easy. Where did this knowledge come from? How did it happen?
You have the distance of the sun and the earth and the moon and the earth encoded in your megalithic pyramids. Yes. In hypergeometry, the star tetrahedron circumscribed in a sphere. It's I think that it's a little bit of two things. For one, undoubtedly, it's interaction with non-terrestrial or extraterrestrial civilizations. Technologically advanced civilizations from other places in the galaxy and universe. That's undoubted that occurred. Just because the fact that we're seeing them here now means that they were there in the past. Because for one thing, traveling these distances in space that are required for interstellar travel necessarily is time travel. It's one and the same thing,
right?
As we brought up earlier, but also because that kind of technological sophistication, you probably jump to any time point you want, so that they can, just hypothetically speaking, a visitor could come and just jump all along the timeline, and observe the progression of the civilization.
Do you think they were? Do you think they were teaching? Well, you know why I almost don't think that they were, because I don't know if we interested them in that aspect. But somewhere along the line there was a download, is what I mean. There's something injected into our DNA. There's some, because there's one other aspect. We have jumped from, I want to pick a definite period in time here, 1900 until this last 115 years. We went from riding horses to walking on the moon and beyond.
Yeah.
Now, how is that possible unless things were deliberate in our knowledge? All of the, everything was just brought up to us at a certain point. So going back 3,500 years, maybe math and science and stuff was downloaded and came from somewhere else.
Well, no. If I could put this in context from how I'm looking at it, it's just that. So I think that all life on Earth has been an engineering project from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's part of a larger engineering project. And again, it's just that the fact that there are civilizations capable of interstellar travel. We're talking about technological sophistication. I mean, I think it's highly possible that we're talking about a network here with specific agendas on creating habitable planets, so that even Earth was like a terraforming project.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so you do have this intervention, this intelligent engineering, intelligent design, but you do also have natural evolution, natural mechanics, because even actually, I'm sure the smartest civilizations will see the wisdom inherent in natural processes. It's such that most projects will rely more heavily on the intelligence of natural processes.
Okay, and that's a really good point, except I have one big fundamental flaw in evolution, okay? And all of you Darwinists, whatever. But we have too many examples of nothing evolutioning in front of us. Nothing. No, we haven't seen any changes in anything. I don't see any changes in sharks. Sharks have been around forever. They're still not driving cars. Dolphins, as smart as they are, don't have computer technology. Nothing has. Chimpanzees are still the same. Butterflies are still. I don't see the changes in things around us. I don't see any real examples of that. The Darwinian chart that we've all seen, right?
Yeah.
From water to land, right? Okay, we've all seen that, but it's we don't see examples of it. It's a good drawing. It's good artwork, but I don't see any examples of that anywhere. Fish are still fish.
Yeah. It really is that the fundamental, some of the core precepts of the Darwinian theory are incorrect. It's not how the term evolution works. Like specifically this gradual, long-term process of change, of evolution.
Physical change or mental change?
Both. Even physical change, as well as mental capabilities. What you do see is punctuated change, where there isn't this slow gradation and these obvious links along the way. Now, it's a long discussion, explanation, all the things that are going on here. But one thing that we can do is there are definite, and actually even within conventional circles, there are concessions that there's some problems to the fundamental precepts of Darwinian theory. I mean, especially with the molecular genetics. The modern synthesis of evolutionary theory, it's just not how it works. It got it wrong.
Do you think, and to that end, do you think that gravity on Earth has changed? In other words, I don't see brontosaurus or huge dinosaurs living on Earth and with the gravity that we had today. Was gravity different 100 million, 200, 300 million years ago to allow giant creatures?
That's something I've seriously considered, because for me, there's some good reasons to think about actually that the Earth, its size has increased over time, such that all the continents look like they fit together.
Right.
Maybe not because they were all huddled on one side of the Earth together. One of it's because that was the size of the Earth, and it's grown. And, it's something that I've seriously entertained, because, for one thing, that could be why you have, 6-foot-long dragonflies 300 million years ago, and, walking skyscrapers,
right.
walking city blocks, brontosaurus, and these extremely large guys. Now, actually, it's been a while since I thought of it. I kind of dismissed that personally, but just because I think that an alternative explanation that is very possible is that those guys, the brontosaurus and whatnot, were actually amphibious. It could be that I actually have come to think that they probably, quite possibly, lived in shallow water.
In a weightless type of environment.
So like the blue whale is larger than any terrestrial dinosaur that we had. So, with the support of water, it's quite possible that, those guys could have existed even in the present gravitational field force. But that's more what I'm leaning towards. But I'm definitely still open to, seeing any kind of information on changing size of the Earth. And just another technicality. I think I've thrown quite a bit of these out, but it's just that the mass of the Earth does change over time. There's something actually an inordinate amount of space matter that rains down on the Earth. I mean, tons and tons of it a year. So there's tons and tons of new matter being introduced to the Earth from extraterrestrial sources on a yearly basis, and over time that probably kind of becomes somewhat significant. So the mass of the Earth does increase a little bit over time. Who knows what else is with that too? I mean, other life forms, viruses, bacteria. I'm sure that life is probably being swapped all across the galaxy.
Exactly. If it's occurring here, then it's spun off of this planet many, many times. infinite amounts of times, and has floated across and planted. I can't think of, but everything is the same. There's nothing different here. We don't have anything special here that isn't, across the universe. We don't have any special, not that I know of, anything special here that doesn't occur everywhere else.
And another thing about that, the evolution is like, if you look back at fossils from 3.8 billion years ago, the way that those are identified is that they look just like microbial mats that you find today. That says a lot.
Yes, it does.
It says a lot. Just a hypothetical example here. So, you've got this primordial life on an early Earth, and what it's doing is terraforming. It's pretty much indistinguishable from the microbes today, as far as genomic and metabolic complexity.
Right.
But they're terraforming the planet. They're making it actually habitable for metazoans, higher taxa, so to speak. So they're actually locking up a lot of the ammonia and toxic compounds that are prevalent on early Earth. They're releasing oxygen, lots of oxygen, which is oxidizing the iron, rusting out. Now, after a couple billion years of this, the Earth goes from like a hellish Venus-type planet, so to speak, to a habitable one. Now, the moment that occurs, bam, you have a Cambrian explosion. Out of nowhere, you've got multicellular life forms all over, many different species with no identifiable previous forms. They came out of nowhere.
But how and what? You're the smart guy here. What are the odds of that?
Well, now, so yeah, the odds are it's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah. Now, and that's.
I mean, you state a great case, but you step out of the box immediately and try to figure out what are the odds of that happening are, and you just said it. It can't.
There's a couple key places where that conventional classical science has kind of got its foot in its mouth, or whatever is used for that kind of term, where yada yada yada, logic, rationale, everything, nothing out of the normal. We have this process, then a miracle occurs, and blah 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 blah.
Right.
You gotta throw that out there. Where there's like three key points. Like the beginning of the universe.
Right.
Statistically, to produce the universe, optimally biophilic universe, the universe we see today, not going to happen statistically.
Right.
Spontaneous biogenesis on early Earth, not going to happen.
Right.
Going from geochemical processes to
complex DNA.
Yeah. The DNA.
Right.
Genome and RNA informatics and
I can understand how gold forms in the universe. I can wrap my head around that. But DNA, that's a whole nother situation.
But actually though, I mean, cosmologically speaking, the formation of gold in the universe statistically is not explained. That is a complex enough system that it shouldn't occur by a random process.
But the odds of it, hold on for a second, I'm shorting. The odds of that happening, I can deal with. That accident, that accident I can deal with. right,
Yeah.
I really can, but complex DNA, just a little tadpole in the water, that is crazy odds.
Yeah. You know, it's not going to happen by purely random, blind, stochastic processes. You know.
So who did it then?
Well, now you can have natural ordering mechanisms. You can have natural mechanisms that work towards order, increasing complexity. Now, the thing is that you know, those mechanisms are displaying. You know, whether or not it's actually there, but it's certainly displaying purpose. You know, and that's one of the big things that is definitely a no-no. You know, it's not supposed to be there. Processes with purposeful directionality.
Well, wouldn't that take longer if you did the math? Wouldn't it take longer than our universe even is here?
You know, we have a paper coming out this summer on this specific topic. It's me and Nassim's first paper together. The Unified Space Memory Network from Cosmogenesis to Consciousness. Now I'm presenting it at the First International Congress of Conscientology this summer. But yeah, we have a calculation in there on.
Are you going to reveal it on the show, or are you going to hold off?
You know, we've
put me in the ballpark.
Okay, so I calculated the number of possible what's called first order or linear configurations to RNA, the ribosome molecule. Now, the ribosome molecule is one of the three fundamental pillars of molecular biology. So for the biological system to do its thing, you need DNA, you need something to read and copy the DNA, and you need something to decode and make proteins from the DNA. And actually, as it turns out, you can't really take any one of these three things out. And that's a problem also in terms of how it initially came about.
Right.
Because, you know, each one, the chicken or egg type thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. One makes the other, but one needs the other to make the other, et cetera, et cetera. But now, so just talking about the complexity of the ribosome, which is a pretty impressive molecular bio-nano machine. But, you know, it's got to be there in the first life form, ostensibly, supposedly. Now, so when I did that calculation, Nassim said, this is the largest number I've ever seen in a paper. So the number of different possibilities, the number of different ways this enzyme, this sequence of RNA nucleotides could have came together, it's 100 to the 4,448 different possible configurations. So the scientific nomenclature for that is 1 times 10 to the 8,896 different possible first order configurations. So that's a 1 with 8,896 zeros after it. To try to give, you know, any kind of idea what that is. So a million years is a 1 with 6 zeros after it.
Right.
Billion, 1 with 9. Let's see, one of the largest numbers in physics is the number of different possible phase spaces or phase configurations in string theory. There's about 10 to the 552 possible configurations. This number has 8,000 more zeros than that. So this is actually the terminology we get for it is a hyper-astronomical number. Now, the thing about this number is that, so we're to believe that this was a random, accidental, blind process that this came together. If it's a random probabilistic process, how is it that this one
possibility, a singular one,
and there's not a lot of leeway for variation.
No, there's not,
because in any organism you go to, the ribosome is almost identical, and the reason is because if there's a little bit of a change, that organism doesn't work anymore.
That's right.
So one. There's
that's it.
Now one out of a hyper-astronomical number, a number that there's nothing even cosmologically that compares to it. I don't know, maybe the number of inches from one side of the universe to the other maybe comes close. I don't know, something like that. I don't even think that comes close. It's beyond that. That right there. Now,
do we have a concept? Can you convert that into years?
Yeah. So let's see. The universe has been around for approximately 1.2 times 10 to the 17 seconds. So the approximate 13.8 billion years is about 10 to the 17 seconds. This is 10 to the 8,896 possibilities.
So somebody just tweeted, so God did it.
No.
Well, but I'm being facetious here. I'm being facetious.
Okay. Well, it's just that I don't know why this particular discussion is so black and white like this. It's one of the few places where it's like, okay, it was either blind and random or God did it.
Right, or divine intervention.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know why. I guess I could guess why, imagine why. But, we're not like that with a lot of other things, where it's like, gravity is either produced by something or God is doing it. I don't know if that is a good example, but there's plenty of middle ground in these things. I mean, God can be doing things through natural processes.
Sure. Well, I often look at it like this, William. If you and I were holding hands and we went to the edge of the known universe, right? Went out to the edge. I say this on the show all the time, but you and I go out to the end of everything. And you and I poke our head through and look out to see what's on the other side. And you know what's on the other side? Another universe coming back at us from another direction.
Yeah.
And we look down, and there's another universe coming at us from below us, and we look above. And so the creation of those universes, whoever did that consciousness that you're talking about, that intelligence, just went poof and did us over here, and we were just the next, and that's the way that I look at it. I'm not saying God necessarily, or what somebody's definition may be, but I'm just saying somebody smart somewhere, put the pieces of the puzzle into play, because, like you said, it's 8,000 zeros.
Yeah. And it's just that I'm kind of a pantheist. in that, I think that the connectivity of all things produces, a synergistic intelligence, above and beyond any one part. And that intelligence is a natural event of complexity, a system as complex as the multiverse.
Yep.
We can't come anywhere close to conceiving what kind of consciousness is that awareness is at that level. But it arises from the connectivity of all things. It's working through the connectivity of all things. So the evolution, the development, as we perceive it, of things, is constantly being informed by all other things, but by this network of information, this sentience, this emergent synergetic sentience of the multiverse, so that there is no randomness.
Well, so what you're saying is there are no accidents.
No, and the deja vu. It's like you can experience that, in my lab mistake, I knew I was about to make a mistake, an accident, but I couldn't remember what it was, so I did it anyways. I call that an accident, but it wasn't. It was part of actually this vast network, this systems intelligence of a multiverse. So, there's no accidents in that sense. But it is a little bit of it depends on kind of what scale you're talking about, what level of interaction you're talking about. If you look at something in a small enough container, in kind of isolation, try to act as if it's not connected, you see randomness, unpredictability, uncertainty, but at a larger level, that randomness is not there. What you saw, it was just the result of looking at it as if it was isolated,
right?
When fundamentally it's not. It's connected, so that the motion of quantum particles in your little black box are influenced by the motion of particles on the other side of the universe, and it appears random to you just because you don't know anything about those particles on the other side of the universe. But there is a network, a system that does the universe. So nothing is random from the awareness, from the perspective of the universe, or even certainly the multiverse. But subsystems within it experience time, a direction of time, and uncertainty and randomness, and unconnected or seemingly random events.
I have to thank you for coming on tonight. This is it's been one of the best shows that we've had. We have a great show every night. This one was an amazing conversation. Now, I'll wrap it up in this. I'm going to be with you out of Contact in the Desert, May 29th through the 31st. I believe you and I are doing a panel together, so I'm excited about that. And I can't wait to get you back on. The one thing that I wanted to get to tonight, and I knew that we wouldn't, was some of your experiences that you have daily out there in Hawaii. With intelligent interactions. And So maybe before Contact in the Desert, we'll get you back on the show, and we'll go deep again.
Awesome, because I'll put up another video of one of the most recent ones, so there can be a video documentation of what exactly I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Your new nickname is Downtown William Brown. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Jimmy. It's been true pleasure. Just really enjoyed talking with you. It's when the receiver is on point, the information is transmitted, so,
it flows, man. Yeah, you're so right. Thank you so much, William, and give my best to Nassim, and we'll talk to you over the next week. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Thank you. Awesome.
Bye-bye. Downtown William Brown, everybody. Thank you so much. Wow. What a night here on Fade to Black. I got to say, that's exactly why we do this show. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for the great questions. I tried to get to everything tonight. Oh, my brain hurts. What a show. And that's why we hang out here on Fade to Black, because you learn something. You get smart. All right, you Fadernauts, did you guys enjoy yourselves? Thank you, William Brown. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Kamarian. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm and Mark D. Kovar. Thanks to LJ3, Renee, and Jonas. Without you, this show doesn't happen. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vito, and Mark D. Kovar. We got some more Gene Vito action coming up. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Method of Signaling. Music is Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Tomorrow night, right here, Laura Eisenhower for the entire duration of the show. I want everybody to be safe. See ya.